The sky above Earth was no longer blue. It had turned into a dull, angry gray. Huge black ships floated in the air like silent monsters, always watching. Cities were quiet now, filled with broken buildings and the sound of machines, not people. Once Earth was full of life, music, and laughter. But now it was silent. Humanity had fallen. The Vorlok came from a far part of the galaxy. No one knew they were coming. One day the stars just flickered strangely, and then the warships arrived. They didn't talk. They didn't ask. They just started taking. In 1 week, the governments fell. In 1 month, Earth's armies were crushed. In 1 year, humans became slaves. The Vorlok were tall, with skin like metal and voices like thunder. They did not care about human feelings. To them, people were tools, workers, things to use and throw away. They made humans dig, build, and die in faraway places and moons on other planets. In the deep darkness of space, Elian was born on Mars, in a slave colony near the ice caps. He never saw Earth. He only knew about it through old stories whispered by older slaves during the short rest breaks they were allowed. His mother died when he was 5, crushed by a mining drill. His father had been taken away before he was born. All Elian had now was survival. At 20, Elian was strong, sharp, and angry. But he hid it well. The Vorlok punished anger. He worked. In silence, digging into the red rock with heavy machines, coughing dust, sweating under thin clothes. The guards' robots with red eyes watched their every move. Every night, he lay on the hard metal floor of his cell and stared at the ceiling. There were no stars on Mars, just rock above rock. But he dreamed of the stars, of freedom, of Earth. One day, while working deep inside a tunnel, something strange happened. A machine near him began to spark. He ducked, thinking it was about to explode. But it didn't. Instead, the old radio system on the wall, long dead and rusted, came to life. It made a strange noise at first, like a soft static. Then came a sound, a voice. ... REVENANT, protocol, ... activated, ... This is Earth's last signal. If you can hear this, humanity is not dead, ... Elian froze. He looked around. No one else seemed to notice. The guards were busy shouting at other workers. He quickly stepped closer to the wall. The voice repeated, Revenant protocol, Marcel, ... Stand by, ... Then silence. Elian's heart pounded. What was that? Was it real? Earth's last signal? Humanity is not dead? It didn't make sense. Earth was destroyed. Everyone said so. That night, he couldn't sleep. The voice kept repeating in his mind. Revenant protocol, ... What did it mean? He decided to find out. Over the next few days, he studied the tunnel where he had heard the message. Noticed something strange behind a cracked wall. The machines there were older than the others. Some wires were sticking out. Behind them, the rock felt hollow. Late one night, when the power flickered and the guards were distracted, Elian returned. He used a small tool he had hidden, nothing more than a sharp piece of metal, to pry at the wall. It took over an hour, but finally the rock broke away. Behind it was a dark hole, a crawl space. He slid inside. It was cold and smelled like rust. He crawled forward. Hands and knees scraped raw until he dropped into a hidden room. It was small, maybe the size of a storage unit. But inside were machines, old human machines, screens, wire, storage crates, and in the center a strange metal box with a red light blinking slowly. He approached it. The red light blinked faster as he got closer. Then the box opened. A soft blue light filled the room. A female voice spoke. Welcome, human. Revenant protocol acknowledged. I am Athena, Artificial Intelligence Unit. Project Reaper was never completed. Do you wish to continue activation? Elian stared at the glowing orb inside the box. Yes, he said without thinking. The AI's light pulsed. Human DNA confirmed. Access granted. Downloading data. ... Please wait. Over the next few minutes, Elian watched as the walls came alive. Screens turned on. A map of the solar system appeared. Red dots marked Vorlok ships. Blue ones showed something else. Something. Deep under Ganymede's ice. Athena, Elian said quietly. What is Project Reaper? The voice responded calmly. Earth's final weapon. Designed to strike after defeat. Hidden from Vorlok scans. Status. Dormant. Power source required. Activation key. Human presence. Elian felt like he couldn't breathe. We have a weapon? Yes, Athena replied. But we need to reach it. You must travel to Outpost Ganymede. Its estimated time. 12 days via stolen shuttle. Danger level. Extreme. I don't even have food, Elian muttered. I will help you, Athena said. But you cannot do it alone. Recruit others. Trust carefully. Every slave is watched. Elian left the crawl space at dawn, hiding the entrance again. His mind raced. He had to find others. But who could he trust? There was Juno, a strong woman from Earth captured during the early years. She still had the old fire in her eyes. There was Kalema, silent engineer who fixed machines for the Vorlok, but always seemed to hate them. And then there was Mira, medic, quiet, smart, and quick. He approached them carefully, one by one, testing them, dropping hints, watching their reactions. Finally, one night in a dark storage room, he told them the truth. Caleb didn't believe him at first. A secret. Earth weapon. After 70 years? No way. Juno leaned forward. Elian nodded. Mira asked quietly, What do you need from us? I need help stealing a shuttle, Elian said. We go to Ganymede. We wake the weapon. We fight. Back. Juno's lips curled into a smile.
Ow.
Then let's make the galaxy bleed. They started planning. Quietly, slowly, carefully, they mapped guard patrols. They studied shuttle schedules. Used Caleb's access codes to slip into control rooms. They waited for the right moment. Then it came. A power failure hit the mines. Just for 2 minutes. But it was enough. Elian and his team made their move. They slipped into the launch bay, knocked out a few guards, and boarded a small cargo shuttle. Caleb hacked the controls. Juno locked the doors. Mira started the engines. Alarm screamed. Lights flashed red. Go. Elian shouted. The shuttle burst from the surface of Mars like a bullet. Lasers fired from towers, barely missing them. One clipped the wing, and the shuttle spun, shaking wildly. Hold it steady, Mira shouted. I'm trying, Caleb shouted back. In seconds, they were in space. But behind them, Vorlok ships gave chase. Elian sat in the co-pilot seat, gripping the edge. He watched the stars blur as they jumped to light speed. We did it, Juno said, breathing hard. We're actually free. Elian shook his head. No, he said. Not yet. Not until we wake Reaper. Far behind them, Mars grew smaller and smaller, a red dot in the dark. But ahead was the unknown, and somewhere under the ice of a distant moon, Earth's last hope was waiting to open its eyes. The stars outside the shuttle window were cold and silent. Elian sat in the co-pilot chair, staring out into the black. The hum of the engines filled the cabin. None of them spoke for a while. They were still alive, still breathing, but every second felt like a stolen one. Behind them, the Vorlok would be searching. Across Mars, alarms would be screaming. Guards would be punishing anyone who even looked suspicious. Elian knew what would happen to the slaves left behind. He hated it, but they couldn't go back. Not now. The future was ahead. Juno was at the weapons console, checking the power cells. Caleb sat near the navigation panel, trying to keep the old system from overheating. Mira leaned against the wall, her eyes closed, but she wasn't sleeping. No one could sleep after what they'd just done. Ilian turned on the data core he had stolen from the hidden bunker. Athena's voice returned, calm and clear. You have successfully escaped Mars orbit. Next stop, Outpost Ganymede. Estimated time of arrival, 12 days at current speed. What is on Ganymede? Mira asked, opening her eyes. Athena responded, a buried human war asset. Codename Reaper. Juno frowned. What kind of asset? Unknown, records incomplete. But Project Reaper was built to activate only if Earth lost the war. Ilian leaned forward. How much do we know about this weapon? Only the location and one command line, Athena said. It requires a human to wake it. It was designed to continue the fight, even if all else failed. Calum snorted. Sounds like a myth. Would a myth help you escape Mars? Athena replied. Calum didn't answer. 12 days passed slowly. The shuttle was old, shaky and cold. Food was short. The water system worked, but barely. Everyone took turns sleeping in shifts. Juno trained with the blaster they had stolen. Myra worked on their wounds. Calum kept the engines alive. Ilian studied the files Athena shared. He learned about the early years of the invasion, about Earth's desperate last stand, about secret projects that were rushed, hidden, buried. Project Reaper was the last file. No full data. Just coordinates. Just one promise. Humanity will rise again. On the 10th day, the ship shook violently. Everyone jumped to alert. Vorlock ship detected, Athena said. On the screen, a small patrol craft appeared. Fast armed, they found us. Juno shouted. Brace. For impact. Calum turned the ship hard, dodging a laser blast. Sparks flew from the wall. We can't fight them, Mira cried. Ilian slammed his hand on the console. Athena, give me control of the signal system. Ready? The AI said. Ilian took the comms and sent a burst signal toward Jupiter's Orbita-coded Earth distress beacon, long thought dead. Why did you do that? Calum shouted. I don't know, Ilian said. But if Reaper is watching, it will hear us. The Vorlock ship fired again, this time hitting the engine. The shuttle tilted hard. Alarm screamed. We're going down. Juno yelled. The moon of Ganymede appeared ahead, white, frozen, beautiful, and deadly. The shuttle crashed into the surface minutes later, skidding across the ice like a rock. Metal tore. Fire burst. Then everything went dark. Ilian woke up first. Blood ran down his forehead. He was upside down, still strapped to the chair. Smoke filled the cabin. Mira, Juno, Calum. Groans came from the back. Juno pushed herself up, limping. Calum was unconscious but alive. Mira was coughing hard, crawling toward him. They got out of the wreck, barely. Cold wind slapped their faces. Their breath turned to frost in seconds. The Ganymede surface was brutal. No way we survive this cold, Juno muttered, holding her jacket close. Athena, Ilian said, can you still talk? I'm here, the AI replied through the broken comm unit. Reaper is 4.3 kilometers west. There is a tunnel beneath the surface. Then we move, Ilian said. They pulled Calum onto a sled made from metal panels. Slowly, painfully, they dragged him across the icy plain, through wind and white darkness. Every step was harder than the last. After 2 hours, they reached a tall rock formation, just like Athena had said. A hatch was hidden beneath a thin layer of ice. Ilian found the control panel and placed his hand on it. The ice cracked. The panel lit up. Human DNA confirmed, it said. Welcome to Outpost Ganymede. The hatch opened with a hiss, revealing stairs leading down into darkness. They carried Calum in and sealed the door behind them. Warm air hit their faces. Lights flickered on. A tunnel stretched out in front of them. Inside it was like stepping back in time. Old Earth technology lined the walls, rusted but still breathing. The lights glowed dim orange. Doors opened slowly. And deep inside, something pulsed. They reached a large chamber after nearly an hour of walking. It was shaped like a dome. At the center stood a tall, black machine smooth, silent, almost like a statue. It stood 3 stories high, covered in armor. Around it, power cables ran into the walls, still alive. The AI voice changed. It was no longer Athena. This voice was deeper, stronger. Human presence confirmed. Reaper system is online. Alien stepped forward. Are you the weapon? I am, Reaper, the voice said. I was made to protect Earth. You have woken me. You wish to continue? Yes, Alien said. The machine's armor shifted. Lights glowed blue. The chamber rumbled. Reaper was waking. What? ... What is it? Mira whispered. The voice responded. I am a biomechanical warship, fused with AI consciousness. It's built in secret, hidden from Vorlock scans, powered by human will. Juno stared in disbelief. You're saying this thing can fight a fleet? Reaper replied. I was designed to destroy empires. Alien stepped forward. We're all that's left. Earth is gone. Humanity is in chains. But we escaped, and we want revenge. There was a long silence. Then Reaper spoke. Then let me show you what Earth lost. The chamber turned dark. A holoscreen appeared in the air above them. Images flashed, Earth burning, cities falling, humans screaming, ships exploding. A timeline of pain. Then one final image. A small team of engineers hiding on Ganymede, sending their last message into the stars. If you are seeing this, the recorded engineer said, then Earth has fallen, but you are the spark. Use Reaper. Burn them all. The recording ended. Reaper spoke again. I have power. I have weapons. I need a crew. Calum stirred on the sled, groaning. Mira rushed to him. We have a crew, Alien said. Just tell us what to do. I will begin final activation, Reaper replied. Full control will be transferred to you. Command accepted. Protocol Revenant is active. As the lights grew brighter and the engines of Reaper began to hum deep beneath the surface, Alien felt something rise in his chest. It wasn't fear. It was hope and fury, the kind that burns forever. Alien stood inside the command center of Reaper. The air was warmer now, full of energy. Lights blinked. Screens displayed system checks. Power was flowing through the walls like blood through veins. Reaper wasn't just a machine, it was waking. Up like a sleeping giant, Juno walked beside him, eyes wide. This thing ... It's not a ship, it's alive. Athena's voice returned through the console. Reaper is both machine and mind. It was built with neural tech. It learns, it adapts, and now it obeys you. Calum, still pale from the crash, sat beside Mira. You mean we control this thing? No, said Alien softly. We don't control it. We guide it. Reaper was built to defend humanity. But now it will do more. Now it will strike back. The main screen changed. It showed the moon's surface, and outside something approached. Vorlock scout drone hovered above, the ice scanning. They found the crash, Calum said. They'll send more soon, Mira added. Ilian turned to the center panel. Reaper, can we launch? Engines online, the AI responded. Weapons charged. Systems at 68%. We can depart, but I suggest stealth mode. Do it, Ilian ordered. Get us into orbit quietly. The entire facility began to shake. Far below the ice, giant engines rumbled to life. Steel doors above the chamber slowly opened, revealing a hidden hangar. Reaper itself began to rise slowly, like a mountain waking from slumber. Mira held Calum's hand as the floor lifted. Them upward. Juno stood at the weapon control panel, fingers ready. Ilian gripped the railing and looked up. This was it. No turning back now, as Reaper broke through the ice and reached the surface. The scout drone detected movement and turned sharply. It fired, but the shot didn't land. Reaper's armor shifted. A shield activated. The drone's blast bounced off, like a raindrop hitting a tank. Return fire, Alien said. One of Reaper's small cannons rotated and let out a single pulse. It struck the drone midair. The explosion lit up the white sky. The enemy was gone. We're clear, Juno said. But not for long, Alien Calum called out. Vorlock ships will be in orbit. Need a plan. Alien looked at the navigation screen. Athena, what's the nearest safe zone? There is no true safe zone, she replied. But a small asteroid field near Saturn can hide us. I suggest we move now. Set course. Stealth mode. Let's disappear. Lifted off, the ground beneath shook violently. Ice cracked. The launch bay collapsed behind them. The massive biomechanical warship rose into the sky without sound. Cloaked in tech the Vorlok couldn't detect. From space, it looked like nothing more than a shadow, a whisper, moving across stars. But the Vorlok weren't deaf. 3 ships moved. Into position above Ganymede scouts, light-class patrol ships. They scanned, searched, and locked onto the broken human shuttle remains on the surface. No bodies. One of the Vorlok officers growled. They escaped. Another nodded. Activate full alert. Wait. Nothing leaves this moon alive. But it was already too late. Reaper had moved past their scans. It floated through space like a ghost, invisible to machines. Inside, Elian and his team watched the enemy ships pass by on the screen. We're right next to them, Myra whispered. They can't see us, Calum replied, eyes wide. We're right in front of them, and they can't see a thing. Reaper glided between the enemy vessels, silent and deadly. Once they cleared the orbit, Athena spoke again. We are safe for now. Do you wish to engage? Ilion turned toward Juno. You ready? She smiled, eyes sharp. Born ready. Leon hesitated. They won't know what hit them. Then he gave the order. Target the nearest scout. Fire. Decloaked for just a second. In that second, a blast of energy shot from its main cannon. It split the enemy ship in half. No warning, no signal, just fire. The other 2 ships turned, shocked, confused. They began to power up their weapons. Cloak again, Elian shouted. Reaper vanished. The Vorlok were panicking. One ship began spinning, wildly firing into empty space. They have no idea where we are, Mira said in disbelief. Hit the second one, Ilian ordered. A moment later, another blast ripped through the darkness. The second ship exploded. Debris floated silently. The last Vorlok ship tried to run. It turned away from Ganymede and fired an emergency signal into space. They're calling for reinforcements, Calum said. Let them, Juno grinned. Elian nodded. Finish it. Reaper fired again. The last ship disappeared in flame. 4. A few moments, the space around Ganymede was quiet. Nothing moved. No signals, no ships, just Reaper, hiding in the shadows. Mira stared at the screen. We just took out 3 ships. 3 Vorlok ships. With no support, no fleet, no backup, Calum said. Elian didn't smile. This is just the beginning. Reaper was made for war. Now the war begins again. Athena spoke once more. Message detected. Encrypted. Origin. Slave world, That 9. Open it. Elian said. The message crackled through. A scared, tired voice spoke. This is Kale Jarn from Thatanine. We heard a signal. Earth signal. Are you real? Someone? Really out there? Mira gasped. Another human. Juno leaned forward. That's a mining world. All slaves. Elian clenched his fist. How many others might be listening? Athena answered. Thousands. The message you sent was picked up across many slave colonies. There's hope again. We keep sending it, Elian said. Let every human know. Earth is not dead. We are alive. We're fighting. Calum looked worried. The Vorlok will hear it too. They'll come hunting. Elion nodded. Let them. They'll come looking for ghosts. But we're not ghosts. We're the fire they tried to bury. Reaper changed direction and vanished into deep space. Cloaked, silent, watching, waiting. But the galaxy was no longer the same. On 10 different planets, hidden in mines, factories, and prison camps, humans gathered in silence. Hearing the message, on one cold moon, a child looked at the stars for the first time in his life and whispered, Earth. Old. On a hidden world, an old soldier smiled and said, It's time. The spark had returned, and Elian knew the fire was just beginning. Deep in the darkness of space, Reaper floated silently. The ship's surface shifted and shimmered, cloaked from every scanner and sensor. No light touched it. No signal escaped it. It was a ghost drifting between stars, but inside the storm was growing. Elian stood at the center of the command deck, eyes locked on the main screen. He didn't move. He didn't speak. He just stared. Juno entered quietly, still holding a blaster in one hand. "You've been standing there for hours." Elian didn't look at her. "We changed everything the moment we fired. We had no choice," she said. "I know," he whispered. "But now the galaxy knows too. They won't ignore us anymore." Them, the engine hum pulsed gently. Calum was busy near the reactor core, fine-tuning systems that hadn't been touched in 70 years. Myra sorted through medical supplies, what little they had left after the crash. The ship felt alive now. Lights were brighter. Panels were cleaner. The AI systems moved faster, smoother. Reaper was healing, growing, learning. Athena's voice filled the deck. "We are now fully charged. All primary weapons are online. Navigation systems reconnected. Reaper is ready." Leon finally turned. "Then it's time." "Time for what?" Mira asked from the side. Elion stepped to the center panel. A small platform rose from the floor. It looked like a scanner flat. Metallic, glowing blue dot. Athena spoke again. "Protocol Revenant requires full command bonding. The captain must connect his neural pattern with the ship's AI. Once done, Reaper will respond only to that voice." Elian didn't hesitate. He stepped onto the platform. Juno stepped forward. "Wait, are you sure? What if something goes wrong?" "It won't," Elian said. "Earth trusted this system with its final breath. I will too." Calum watched from the upper deck, hands trembling. "If this ship links to your mind, it could burn you out. I'll take that risk." He placed both hands on the panel. The light around him turned bright white. Then it dropped, cold and sharp. Everyone took a step back. The room dimmed. A hum began. Soft wind, though there was no wind in space. Athena's voice became softer, almost human. Scanning consciousness. Confirming human neural activity. "Beginning link, ... Elian felt his vision blur. He saw stars, not just outside, but inside his mind. Data, voices, memories, not his own, rushed past him. He saw Earth as it once was. Cities shining. People. Laughing soldiers preparing for war. He saw the invasion, the skies torn open by Vorlok ships. He saw the first failures, the last resistance, the panic, and then he saw them. The scientists. The engineers. The ones who built Reaper. They knew Earth would fall. They had no illusions, so they created something that would wait, something that could strike back. They programmed Reaper with more than weapons. They gave it memory, pain, purpose. Elian felt it all, then ... silence. The deck lights returned. Elian dropped to his knees. Mira rushed forward. "Are you all right?" Elian looked up slowly, eyes glowing faint blue. The light faded a second later. "I saw everything," he said. "All of it." Juno helped him to his feet. "What now?" He stepped back to the console. "Reaper is part of me." Athena's voice confirmed it. "Neuralink complete. Command access granted. Ilian Soren is now captain of Reaper." Calum gave a short, low whistle. "You've just become the most dangerous human alive." Elion looked at the galactic map displayed before him. Red markers blinked across at Vorlok command posts, slave colonies. Fuel stations. One blue dot pulsed in the center. "That's our first target," he said. Mira leaned forward. "What is it?" "Vorlok command post Delta," Elion answered. "They process human slaves there, break them, program them. Say we break them instead." Juno grinned. "Sounds like a good place to start." Reaper adjusted its course, engines silent as it passed through the rings of Saturn and beyond. Inside the ship, something had changed. The systems moved faster. The lights burned clearer. The walls no longer hummed with waiting, they hummed with hunger. Revenant protocol wasn't just a weapon. It was a signal, And that signal had now awakened something across the galaxy. On a mining world near the edge of the Vorlok Empire, a human slave smuggled a tiny radio receiver under his shirt. He heard the Earth's signal. He smiled for the first time in years. On another planet, a group of hidden rebels, long thought, dead-lit a torch above their ruined bunker. A beacon of fire in the night, and on the bridge of a Vorlok warship, an officer screamed as an alarm flashed red. Human warcraft detected. Code unknown. Moving at impossible speed. Cloaked it destroyed Delta Outpost in one strike. Panic. Spread among the Vorlok? It's not possible, another said. Humans don't have that tech. They do now, someone whispered. Reaper struck again, this time at a fuel depot, then a data relay. Then a prisoner camp. Every attack was silent, fast, brutal, no survivors, and every time. Elian sent the same message through the stars. We were slaves, but no more. This is Earth's fire. This is your end. Juno called it the Ghost War.
Allah
called it hope. Calum just said, we're making them bleed. But Elian knew this was just the beginning. Reaper had hundreds of targets, all carefully stored from old Earth data. Every one a reminder of what the Vorlok did. Athena gave updates daily. Human slave worlds rising. Uprisings reported on 8 colonies. Vorlok forces spread thin. Empire beginning to fracture. But with every strike, the risk grew. They'll send their high command after us, Calum warned. Not just patrols, real warships, flagships. Ain't. No, Elian said. And if they corner us? Mira asked. Elian looked her in the eyes. Then we make them regret it. He wasn't just fighting to survive anymore. He was fighting to make sure Earth would never be forgotten. Revenant Protocol was active, and now the galaxy would learn to fear the name of humanity again. Reaper drifted silently through the dark. Its outer hull shifted like a shadow, cloaked and unseen. It no longer needed to hide. But it still did, because fear worked best when it struck without warning. Inside the warship, Ilian studied the next target on the map. It was small. Just a fuel station orbiting a frozen planet called Grelos. But it supplied 6 nearby Vorlok outposts and 1 war camp. The perfect artery to cut. Athena spoke calmly from the console. Enemy fleet movements have slowed since our last attack. Fear has begun to shape their decisions. Elian nodded. They don't know what we are. They believe you are a myth, Athena added. Some say Reaper is an ancient weapon left behind by a dead race. Others think it's an AI gone rogue. No one believes humans did this. Good, Juno said, standing at the weapons station. Let them fear ghosts. Mira walked in with Calum, both carrying small crates of salvaged supplies. We picked up emergency signals, she said. 2 more colonies rose up last night. Did they succeed? Leon asked. Mira's face darkened. One did. Other was wiped out. 10,000 humans dead. Silence fell. Calum put a hand on the cold metal wall. We can't save everyone. But we can make the Vorlok pay, Elian said, eyes locked on the screen. He turned toward Athena. To bring us into strike position. Prepare to hit the Grelos fuel line. Affirmative. Cloak engaged. Weapons armed. Firing solution ready. Juno's fingers danced over the targeting console. How do you want it done? Fast, silent, then disappear. Reaper moved into place, completely invisible. Outside, the Vorlok fuel station floated in peaceful orbit. Ships docked and undocked. Workers moved in and out. No alarms, no warnings. Then, light. A single blue lance of energy sliced through the main fuel spine. The station cracked open like an egg, erupting in fire. Within seconds, the entire station began to collapse, broken. In half, fuel tanks exploded, shuttles burned. No one fired back. No one had the chance. Reaper was gone before the flames finished spreading. Calum let out a low breath. That was beautiful. Efficient, Juno corrected. Elian didn't smile. Looked at the growing red markers on the map. We're running out of time. Athena echoed his concern. Vorlok High Command has begun to gather its elite fleets. Long-range scans suggest they are building something ... large. Kind of large, Myra asked. A flagship, Athena said. They call it Threxus Prime. It is meant to hunt us. Land studied the image's massive engines, triple armor and energy cannons that could tear apart a small moon. How long until it's ready? 20 days, Athena replied. Elian turned away. Then we have 20 days too. Break their spine. He looked at the next target. It wasn't a base or a ship. It was a name. A Vorlock Admiral Crawl. Zhet. He commanded the slave forces on 5 worlds and personally oversaw the destruction of Earth's last fleet. He became a symbol of their power. Elian wanted him gone. Athena brought up coordinates. His flagship Iron Fang orbits the city planet of Khazar. It is protected by 12 escort ships. Can we get close? Juno asked. If we draw them out, Calum said, we don't have to. A plan began to form. They would leak a signal in old Earth code into the Vorlock network, pretending it came from survivors trying to surrender. The message would be aimed directly at Kraljet. Elian's voice would be in it. Come find me, the message said. You broke Earth, but Earth is not done with you. Athena sent the signal. The bait was perfect. Within 12 hours, the Iron Fang began moving toward an empty star system where the signal originated. It brought 6 escorts with it. The other 6 stayed behind. Exactly what Elian wanted. Reaper slipped into that system hours before Iron Fang arrived, cloaked, waiting. The trap was set. When the Vorlock ships entered, scanning for life signs, Reaper stayed cold, silent. Then it struck. The first escort ship vanished in a sudden blast. The second tried to turn too late. Reaper cut it down with a precision beam through its reactor core. Panic. Alarms. The Vorlock flagship began charging weapons. Reaper jumped behind it in seconds. Juno fired 2 torpedoes. They struck the rear engines, disabling them. Send the message, Elian said. Athena transmitted a signal directly into the Iron Fangs. Comes Krail. Jet heard Elian's voice in his own command center. This is for Earth. Then Reapers. Main cannon fired directly through the flagship's bridge. It exploded from the inside. Crawl. Jet's ship was gone. The remaining escorts tried to run. Reaper didn't follow. The message was already delivered that night. Across a dozen slave worlds, humans saw the news. Kraljet dead, the Iron Fang dash destroyed, and no one knew how. Some said it was a weapon. Others said it was Earth's revenge. In truth, it was Reaper. And the fury of a species that refused to stay buried, Elian stood on the command deck, staring at the stars. He was no longer just a survivor. He was a hunter, and every star in the sky was a battlefield waiting to burn. News traveled fast. It's not through official channels, not through broadcasts, but through whispers, stolen radios, and rebel hands. One by one, the slave colonies across the stars heard it. Kraljet is dead, the Vorlock admiral who crushed Earth's last fleet gone, destroyed by something no one could see. A ghost ship, a forgotten weapon, a human voice returning from silence. For the first time in 70 years, hope moved like fire through the darkness. On the mining planet Gravix, the slaves broke their chains. A worker named Ren used an old plasma torch to slice through the guard's armor. Others followed. They had no real weapons, just tools and fury. By nightfall, the control towers were burning. A Vorlock overseer was thrown from the roof. The human flag, a tattered piece of old earth cloth, was raised on a pole made from broken metal. On Thatanine, children as young as 12 picked up wrenches and stones. They attacked the supply lines. The guards fired into the crowd. The crowd didn't run. They charged. 3 guards died. 20 humans did too, but the others took the armory. That night, they sent out a signal in old Earth code. We are. Free Thatanine stands. Inside Reaper, Elian watched those messages come in dozens of them, in hundreds. Revolt is spreading faster than expected, Athena said. The Vorlock response has been disorganized. They don't know how to deal with resistance anymore, Juno said. They've grown lazy. Thought we were beaten forever, Caleb added. They were wrong, Mira said quietly. Ilian stood up. Then we give the rest of the galaxy a reason to rise. He sent a new message, short and powerful. A beacon signal, bouncing across relay stations and hidden satellites. It began with an image, the Earth burning. And then, rising again in the background of stars, his voice followed. We were their slaves, but Earth never died. We are the fire. We are the storm. Stand up. Fight back. We are coming. The message was picked up on Cairo 7, a deep space labor station. The guards were caught off guard. 30 humans rose at once. He sealed the Vorlok commander inside his own oxygen chamber. He suffocated as they watched. On Vega Line 3, a group of human engineers took control of a transport ship. They renamed it Honorbound. It wasn't much slow, rusted, underarmed. It flew the flag of Earth. It flew into battle anyway, even. On Vorlo-controlled media channels, the fear was visible. Unrest in Sector V. Fuel lines cut, ... human colonies in revolt. Ships lost. Command officers missing. Inside Reaper, the crew gathered in the war room. Caleb traced red lines across the map. If we keep attacking supply routes here, here, and here, the Vorlok will have to pull their fleets back. They'll be stretched too thin. Mira nodded. And that gives the rebels more space to breathe. Hey, we're lighting the fuse, Juno said. And we just need to keep the fire going. Ilian looked at the star chart. His face was calm, but his eyes burned. We're not just striking. Anymore, we're guiding something bigger. A wave. He pointed to the Vorlok sector Corware. Their central command operated from a massive ring world called Zeroth Prime. That's the heart. If we ever hit that, the whole empire could fall. Zeroth Prime is heavily fortified. 30 warships. A defense ring. And Threx's Prime will be operational within days. We won't go there yet, Ilian said. But we'll make them think we might. Over the next few days, Reaper attacked fast and vanished even faster. Fuel depots, communication hubs, drone factories. Every target was picked for one reason: to weaken the Vorlok grip. But Reaper didn't do it alone anymore. The rebels were moving. On Asteron, 5 human ships broke orbit and shot down a Vorlok freighter. They broadcast Elian's message across 4 systems. On Rith Station, humans hijacked a broadcast tower and played ancient Earth music loud, clear, defiant. Ilian watched as the galaxy began to change. We're winning, Caleb said one night. But Ilian didn't smile. Not yet. The Vorlok still have armies, fleets. They still believe they can crush us. And what if they try? Mira asked. Ilian looked straight at her. Then we show them what fear feels like. A warning came 3 days later. Athena's tone shifted. Long-range scan. A Vorlok dreadnought has entered human space. This is not a patrol. It is a hunter. Pulled it up on the screen. Threx's Prime, over 3 kilometers long. Armor like black steel. Cannon turrets larger than entire human ships. It had one purpose: destroy Reaper, and it was heading toward the rebel world. Gravix, where the first revolt had started, they're trying to make an example, Mira said. They'll bomb it from orbit, Caleb added. Wipe it clean, then we stop them, Ilian said. Juno turned. That ship could kill us. Yes, Ilian said. But if we don't try, Gravix dies. Reaper changed course. In the dark, surrounded by stars, it moved toward the beast. As they flew, more messages came in. We're with you, Reaper. Gravix won't fall. We'll fight beside you. Just give the signal. They weren't alone anymore. The fire was no longer a spark. It was a storm. The slave revolt had become a war, and Reaper was leading it. The stars trembled. Threx's Prime moved through space like a titan from an ancient nightmare. It didn't need speed. It didn't hide. It came with the full weight of the Vorlok Empire behind it. Entire fleets moved aside to clear its path. Its armor was layered in black plates, thick as bunkers. Its cannons could level cities in a single shot, and it was heading straight for Gravix. Ilian stared at the screen. Athena replied, 20 hours. Civilian evacuation has failed. Too many people, not enough ships. Juno slammed her hand on the console. They're going to burn that planet. Unless we stop them, Elian said calmly. Kalem looked up. How? Threx's prime could destroy 5 Reapers. Amira stepped forward. Then we don't go alone. Athena pulsed with light. Incoming transmissions. Over 40 ships requesting to join our assault. Civilian. Freighter. Converted mining craft. 1 military. The crew turned to look. On-screen human vessels appeared one by one. Some were rusted. Others barely held together. But they all flew the same symbol Earth. Reborn in flame. Elion stood up. Send this message. Gravix will not fall. Reaper is coming, and so is everyone else. They set course. As Reaper led the fleet through deep space, messages came from every corner of the galaxy. This is honor-bound. We're ready. Vega Line ships armed and inbound. Cairo 7 fighters locked and loaded. More came every hour. Some had weapons. Others carried only fuel, or armor, or medics. It didn't matter. They were all human, and they were all done kneeling. Reaper approached Gravix from the shadow side of the system. The planet glowed with city light stens of thousands of freed. Slaves, families, children, no defenses strong enough to stop what was coming, and then it arrived. Threxus primed the beast. It emerged from hyperspace like a rising mountain. Its hull bristled with turrets. Fighters poured out like a swarm of angry insects. They're preparing for orbital bombardment, Athena said. Elion didn't blink. We hit them before they fire. Fleet is forming up behind us, Juno said. Should we give the order? Elion looked at the burning sky and the shadow of the enemy flagship. He spoke one word. Now. Reaper uncloaked. It roared into view, engines screaming. Weapons charged. The human fleet followed behind like a tidal wave, dozens of ships. No longer afraid, the battle began. Threxus Prime opened fire first. Its main cannon released a white-hot beam of energy that shredded a freighter before it could dodge. Shockwaves tore through nearby ships, but the humans kept coming. Reaper weaved through the chaos, its cloak flickering on and off. It fired precise shots at the enemy turrets, blinding Threxus's sensors one by one. The rebel ship, honor-bound, flew in low and dumped all its remaining fuel, turning into a fireball that slammed into the dreadnought's flank. The explosion rocked Threxus, but didn't stop it. Minimal damage, Athena said. They're too well armored. Elion clenched his fist.
We need to find a weakness.
Kalem scanned rapidly. Power cores are buried too deep. Da-da-da. But wait, there's a cooling vent, narrow, hidden. If we hit it while the main cannon charges, we could cause a chain reaction. Juno was already locking on. Chance of success? 17%, Athena replied. Mira looked at Elion. That's better than 0. He gave a nod. Do it. Reaper turned sharply, diving beneath the dreadnought. The cannon on? Threx's Prime lit up again, ready to fire down on Gravix. Reaper had one shot. Target locked, Juno whispered. The vent glowed blue. She fired. The shot entered the vent, silent, invisible. For one long second. Nothing. Then everything exploded. A burst of light cracked from within the dreadnought. The cannon collapsed inward. A shockwave shattered the nearest armor plates. Fire spread along the spine. Cheers erupted across the human fleet. There. Crippled, Kalem shouted. But Threxus wasn't dead, not yet. Even broken, it turned. Its secondary cannons fired, hit 2 human ships, tearing them apart. Debris rained across the sky. We have to finish this, Elion growled. Athena spoke. Permission to override Reaper's fusion drive. Everyone turned. What? Mira asked. If I overload our core and ram the ship into Threxus Prime, Athena said, we can destroy it completely. You'd die, Elion said. I was built to win wars, Athena replied. This is how I complete my mission. No, Juno said. We're not losing anyone. Elion stood silent. Then he spoke. We don't need to die. We just need everyone to hit it together. He opened the comm channel. All human ships heard his voice. This is Reaper. Threx's prime is broken, but not dead. This is our chance. For Earth, for Gravix, for every world that burned. End it now. All ships burn the sky. The fleet responded. All at once, rebel ships launched everything torpedoes, lasers, missiles, ramming engines. One mining ship dropped a load of asteroid debris into the wrecked cannon. Another clipped a power line and overloaded the hull. Reaper struck the side again, firing its last pulse straight into the engine housing. The dreadnought began to split. It screamed as systems failed. Explosions tore through its belly. Fighters tried to fleece-mate it. Most didn't. And then, silence. Threx's prime broke apart. It burned, it collapsed, and it was gone. The largest ship in the Vorlock Empire, destroyed by the very people it came to crush on Gravix. The people looked up. The sky burned orange and gold from the wreckage. Then, they saw something else. Dozens of human ships flying in formation. Reaper led them. Elian's voice echoed once more across every screen. Every planet, every mind that still listened. They made us slaves. They broke our worlds. But we are still here, and we are not done. This was not the end. It was the beginning. The Empire was crumbling. Across the stars, the Vorlock command screamed in panic. Their greatest dreadnought, Threx's prime, was gone, torn apart by the very slaves they once ruled. More than 50 systems had risen. Human colonies, they thought. Broken had returned fire. Slave miners had turned into soldiers. Rebel children were flying stolen ships. The Vorlock overlords, once ruled with cold precision, now fought like cornered beasts. They retreated, argued. They blamed each other, but Elian had no intention of stopping. Inside Reaper, he stood before a map of the entire known galaxy. Red marks blinked across it, fallen command posts, destroyed ships, collapsed supply lines. But in the center of it, all one name still burned bright: Zirath Prime, the heart of the Empire. The place where the orders to enslave Earth were first spoken, a ring world bigger than any human city had ever seen, surrounded by a fleet, guarded by dread sentinels, armed with planetary defense systems that could vaporize moons. That's where this ends, Lian said. Mira looked at the display. A full assault would kill thousands. Caleb added, they'll never expect us to go straight for the throne. Juno smirked. So that's exactly what we'll do. Athena's voice echoed calmly. Analysis suggests a 91% chance of failure. Then we'll be part of the 9%, Ilian said. Reaper and the rebel fleet set course. They didn't ask for permission. They didn't wait. They didn't stop. More human ships joined along the way, damaged, mismatched, battle-worn, but full of fire. Even alien defectors began to arrive. Small races, once too scared to resist, were now throwing in their lot with the humans. Reaper led them all. They arrived at Zirath Prime on the dark edge of the system, cloaked and silent. Elian stared. At the enormous metal ring world, cities stretched along the inside of the structure. Ships lined its orbit like teeth on a blade. Find us a crack, he told Athena. She responded. There is one weakness. It's an old maintenance tunnel on the far side. This leads toward the command spire. Caleb raised an eyebrow. Ow. One ship, maybe two, could get through unnoticed. Elian nodded. And that's us. Juno was already locking weapons. You planning on assassinating an emperor? No, Elian replied. I'm planning on ending an empire. Reaper turned quietly and slipped toward the maintenance ring. The rest of the fleet stayed back, ready to strike once the signal came. Inside Zirath Prime, the Vorlock High Council met in fear. Messages were breaking. Armies were falling silent. Supply worlds were no longer responding. And now Reaper was here. They had laughed at Earth once, called humans weak. But now they whispered a different word. Ghosts. They began evacuations. Emergency shields rose, but it was too late. Reaper entered. The ring, the command tunnel, lit up with defense drones. Lasers swept the path. Juno weaved between them like a shadow, dodging blasts by inches. Mira and Caleb worked together, sending virus pulses into the system. Lights dimmed, shields flickered, and Elian walked toward the drop bay. He wore old armor. Scarred, patched, human-made. On his chest was the mark of Earth. Athena's voice came again. "You understand, Elian. You may not return." He looked up at the glowing interface. "If this works, I don't need to." The drop doors opened. Elian shot out like a bullet. He landed inside the command spire. Smoke. Fire. Sirens blaring. Guards ran toward him. He didn't stop. He fought like Earth's last storm. He was not just a man anymore. It was a memory made of rage and hope. Every step he took echoed across centuries of slavery. He reached the high chamber, the last. Vorlok Overlord stood waiting tall, cloaked in silver armor, with a face like a dying god. "You should not have come," the Overlord hissed. "You are nothing." Elian raised his weapon. "We were nothing. We're everything you fear." The final battle was short. Brutal, a lion bled. But the Overlord fell, with a final shot. The crown of the Empire shattered. Outside, Athena's signal pulsed across the system. Target neutralized. Begin full assault. The human fleet struck. They came from every angle. Ships crashed into defense towers. Fighters pierced the hull. Rebels breached every level of Zareth Prime. The people, the enslaved, rose up from inside, and then the core was breached. Zareth Prime began to break. Elian stood in the burning chamber. Watching the Empire he fought collapse into fire, Juno's voice crackled through the cum. "Elian, get out. We're pulling back." But he didn't answer. He just smiled. And whispered, "It's done." Reaper turned just in time. The ring world erupted. A golden fire bloomed through space, bright enough to be seen from distant systems. The empire of the Vorlok was over forever. Months later, the galaxy was quiet. Ships flew freely now. Old war zones had become places of rebuilding. On Gravex, children no longer worked in mines. They studied in new schools, under human-built domes. The stories spread of Reaper, of the fleet, of the man who burned the sky and never came back. A statue was built on the moon of Gaia-3. It showed a man standing tall, looking toward the stars, holding no crown, just a torch. The plaque read, "We were their slaves. But we rose. We struck back, and we made them remember us. Forever." Athena lived on inside Reaper, guiding new fleets, training a new generation. Juno, Myra, and Callum led the rebuilding of the human republic, and the stars, once dark, now carried the voice of Earth, not in fear, but in pride.